What's the sexiest thing you've seen by accident? At the time, girlfriend who was done showering and bent over in her room and all exposed. I have that accident most mornings around 7:20 a.m. Wife is onto me though. Some days you should be onto her as well, just to mix things up and give her a rest. I'm not sure if this counts as accident, but I'll tell it anyways. So I went to visit a friend late at night, like over 12 a.m. She's showing me around her place and whatnot. It gets to a point that she decides to change clothes. So she was wearing a dress when I got there and she decides she wants to wear PJs. So while I'm in her room she just takes off the dress and puts on her PJs. I saw her underwear and whatnot. Like, I'm not sure if this would count as an accident. She didn't exactly tell to look away or lock the door, so that's a pretty obvious way to say she's interested if you guys aren't extremely close. I don't think we were close. I mean, we had met a couple of months prior and this was our first time meeting in person. A lot of people I tell this story to say that this was an obvious sign she was interested, but I never thought of it that way because she never made seem like she was into me that way. I was in the laundry room of my dorm one night alone, very late, waiting for my clothes to finish drying. From where I was sitting on the floor I could see one half of the room, but a counter blocked me from being seen. I looked up from my book when I saw someone walk in. I could mostly just see legs, amazing, tanned, long legs, and the bottom of a very baggy hoodie. She goes up to a machine, pays, puts in the soap and then bends over to put her clothes in it. Her sweater sort of hitches up a bit and I see a glorious shot of her ass with that slight gap between her legs. Guys know what I mean. Then, she stands up and does something I couldn't believe. She reaches under the bottom of her sweater and pulls down her panties and puts them in the wash too. I didn't see anything that time though because she crouched down a bit when she shut the door to the washer. I'm still sitting there, mouth agape, and I watch her walk off. I never got a good look at her face. Edit: since I left it unclear, I'm a 25-year-old, pretty fit girl. I didn't see it, but was seen. The natural gas guy came to my house to turn the gas on, arrived way earlier than we expected. We just moved in so no curtains or anything yet. I was nude and all fours giving my so a blowjob. So was coming particularly hard, and I looked up at him mid-swallow only to see, in the window behind him, the gas guy staring at us. We made total eye contact and I freaked, at which point he knocked. Lol, dunno why he bothered knocking at that point. I grabbed a sweater to cover with and ran to our bedroom to get dressed. We had to let him in and show him where our appliances etc. are, and I felt incredibly awkward. I'm sure it was a nice sexy accidental viewing for him though. I was in India and from my hotel room saw a beautiful girl take off all of her adornments and give herself a bath with a bucket of water on the top of her roof, which was extremely arousing. But what takes the cake is this. I live in a basement apartment. Stairs from the sidewalk lead down in front of my windows in what could best be described as a dry moat. One warm April night last year, two very drunk teenage, early 20s girls came down the stairs and had sex directly in front of my window. My lights were already off, but the various building and street lights illuminated plenty, and holy shit, were they hot. Like typical unattainable hot girl hot. For about 30 minutes, or 30 seconds, time didn't really have much meaning. I watched and listened. Oh god, the noises they made, as they went at it. Then they got dressed, did a bump of cocaine each, and got horny enough so that one went down on the other again for good measure. Then they left, as mysteriously as they came. For the rest of the night I couldn't believe what had just happened. At that moment I felt like I could die completely satisfied. The first and only time I had female roommates. I am also female. One of the girls left her bedroom door open a tad. I didn't really think much of it until I went to the washroom, slightly down the hall from her room and my room, when I caught the reflection in her bedroom mirror of her and her boyfriend doing it doggy style on her bed. I couldn't actually see them, just their reflection, but for some reason this made the entire thing that much sexier. She makes the fucking cutest sex noises too. cute sex noises. I'm imagining little squeaks and stuff. She's not a fucking chipmunk XD. No, she has these little cries that are really soft and you can only hear them if you're right there with her. Whimpers. Really? They're sexy and so fucking adorable. You can only hear them if you're right there with her. So how do you know? Smile. My best friend had a teenage sister who would walk around her house in a very long shirt. One day the sister and my best friend were play fighting in his room on the bed. She fell backwards and her shirt rode up on her, revealing her thong panties. Her legs were spread and I saw everything. She blushed, quickly pulled her shirt down, and looked me straight in the eyes. I smiled. She tried to cover up, but it was too late because I had seen everything. I saw it all. Oh Picard, you're so naughty. As a lesbian who spent 7 years in an all-girls boarding school, seriously, nudity and witnessing masturbation isn't all that novel to me. My last couple of years, for instance, every Friday, Fake Dan Friday, there'd be at least 20 17-18-year-old girls wandering around in only a thong with their hands covering their nipples waiting for their Dan to dry. Most of the showers were individual glass-doored cubicles in shared rooms. Half the windows overlooked one another and people were constantly changing in their rooms without closing the curtains. I shared a room for a year with a friend who was a model and who used to sit on the floor naked tweezing her bikini line or doing yoga in her underwear. I could go on. The sexiest thing I've ever seen, however, wasn't sexual at all. It was watching a woman give a presentation in a short skirt and bare legs. She had amazing legs and from where she was standing the sunlight made the blonde hairs on the back of her calves glow. As she talked she kept rubbing the top of one foot on the back of her other leg, brushing the fine gold hairs up and down again. I don't know why, but that image was immensely hot to me, still is. Far more than any of the more classically voyeuristic things I've stumbled into, seen. I suppose that's where that Elliot line comes from, and in the lamplight downed with light brown hair. When I was maybe 8 years old, I was staying at the aunt of a friend's house. The two of us were having a sleepover. She lived beside us and he'd come round to visit her, so we'd sleep over in their spare room. When I woke up the morning, I saw his aunt walk past the open door completely naked but for a towel wrapped round her hair, obviously just out of the shower. She had perfect breasts and an amazing bum. It was probably my first introduction to the female body outside of page 3 models from the Sunday. Didsh give you Marmite on toast for breakfast? Question mark. You wacky Brits. Irish, actually. I was staying at a hostel in Italy with my girlfriend and 2 Italian couples. We woke up early to leave in the morning, and while getting my bag out of the locker I must have woken up one of the other girls. When she sat up her breast was hanging out of her tank top. She casually smiled at me and without breaking eye contact completely nonchalantly put her breast back in her shirt. I was helping a friend with the heater in her dorm room since it stopped working. This girl is the sexiest French girl I have seen. She has perfect big boobs and a very athletic body with the perfect round ass. When I was laying on the ground fixing her heater, she walked over to me wearing only a bathrobe, and stood pretty much above me, giving me a full view of her perfect little pussy and amazing ass. She couldn't have been more obvious. You missed the boat on that one. Don't worry guys, I fixed her heater, and then we made things really hot. We were friends before but had never hooked up or even thought about it. She mentioned the accidental showing in a text message and it started a whole new conversation about sex, and it led to us hooking up. Since then we occasionally hook up. To this day she still tells me she didn't mean for me to see her naked.